You open your banking app 3 days before payday, and the number is so small, it might as well be zero. Rent is gone, groceries are half on a card, and one surprise bill would knock everything over. If you earn a modest income, maybe between $1,500 and $4,000 a month, and this happens again and again, you are exactly who this video is for. We are going to slow the chaos down and show you how to stop zero paydays, 3-step safety buffer, so you can move from constant money fear to a simple, calm system. Surveys show that many adults cannot handle even a $400 surprise without borrowing or panicking. That is not because millions of people are lazy or bad with money. It is because their money system was never built to survive at zero, so one small wave knocks everything over. This is Wealth Mentor Pro, where every lesson is a step closer to your freedom. Today we focus on one clear idea: stop zero paydays, 3-step safety buffer. You will see why huge goals like save 6 months of expenses quietly make you give up, and how a much smaller buffer can change how you sleep, how you shop, and how you react when life happens. And there is a simple 1-minute habit at the end that holds all of this together. Right now, your money might feel like driving at night with no map and no street signs. You are moving, but you do not see the dangerous bends until you are already sliding. Take a simple example. You bring home $2,000 this month. Rent takes $900. Other fixed bills take another $400. That leaves $700 for food, transport, and everything else. What usually happens is that $700 just dissolves. A little here, a little there, and suddenly you are at $11 with 4 days to go. Your first step is not to cut everything you enjoy. Step 1 is to find your zero day. For the next 2 paychecks, track one thing only. Write down the exact day of the month when your balance falls below $20. Not every coffee, not every snack, just the day you are effectively empty. If you ignore this, you stay in that night drive forever, surprised every time the road drops away. Once you know your zero day, you can start to move it. Imagine if next month that day arrived 3 days later than usual. Your income has not changed, but your month already feels different. So the question becomes, how far can you push that day back? Most money advice jumps straight to the mountaintop: 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash. That might be perfect for someone already comfortable. But if you are on $1,800 or $2,400 a month and ending each month at zero, it feels like being told to sprint a marathon with no training. Your brain hears impossible and quietly checks out. Instead, think of your money life as a journey with checkpoints instead of one distant finish line. You do not need to reach the end of the world to feel safer. You only need to reach the first safe town. For us, that first town is not $5,000. It might be your first 100, then your first 300, then your first 500. Take someone earning $2,200. If they put aside $25 a week, that is $100 a month. In 3 months, they are at $300. In 5 months, they can reach $500. It is not easy, but for many low and middle incomes, it is possible with a few trade-offs. Your next step is to pick your first checkpoint number. It might be 200, it might be 500, but it has to feel big enough to matter and small enough to reach in less than a year. If you never choose that number, you are always trying to save with no finish line, and that is exhausting. So ask yourself right now, what is the smallest buffer that would actually change how you sleep? Now we come to the part that quietly decides if that buffer ever survives: where you keep it. If your buffer lives in the same account as your day-to-day spending, your brain will treat it as extra money. And then one hungry Thursday, your safety buffer turns into takeaway and random online orders. Step 2 is to build a small, separate space. That could be a second savings account in the same app, a sub-account labeled Buffer, or whatever simple tool your bank offers. The name matters. When you see it, you want your brain to think, "Do not touch." The same way you would not unplug your fridge to save electricity for one afternoon. If you skip this separation, every emergency drags you straight back to zero because your safety and your spending live in the same bucket. What changes when your brain stops seeing that money as available at all? But here is what almost no one tells you. Building the buffer is only half the story. The other half is defending it, and that is what really turns this into Stop Zero Paydays, 3-step safety buffer. So let us turn this idea into 3 clear rules you can live by. Rule number 1, decide the buffer number and schedule, then automate it. When you choose the amount and the timing, you avoid constant emotional decisions. Let us say you pick $500 as your first safety buffer and you get paid twice a month. You might move $30 from each paycheck into that separate buffer account. That is $60 a month, and in around 8 months, you reach $480, then $500. Slow but predictable. The benefit is that every payday begins with a quiet, automatic, I pay my future first moment, instead of a long debate about whether you can afford to save. Support this rule by treating your buffer transfer like rent or electricity. It is simply something that happens, and you adjust the rest of the month around it. If you feel comfortable sharing, I would love to hear in the comments, what number would feel like a real safety buffer for you right now? Seeing other people's numbers might remind you that you are not the only one walking this road. Rule number 2, once you hit your number, turn it into a never below line. At that point, the mission changes from build it to protect it. Maybe that line is $300 at first. Maybe later, it is $500. Either way, you tell yourself, my account balance can move up and down, but it does not go below this line, except for a real emergency. The benefit is mental. Knowing you always have that cushion turns every spending decision into a simple question. Does this push me below my line? Imagine you have $620 in your main account and your buffer line is $500. You want to spend $180 on something nice but not essential. Old, you sees $620 and thinks, looks fine. New, you sees that $180 would drag you below your safety line, and the purchase feels different. If you ignore this rule, the cost is clear. Any I deserve this moment can wipe out months of progress. Rule number 3, use your buffer to change decisions, not to upgrade your lifestyle. A safety buffer is not just money sitting there. It is a small piece of freedom. Used well, it lets you say no to things that used to trap you. Picture this. You finally have $500 in your buffer. Your car needs a $200 repair. Without a buffer, you throw it on a high-interest card and worry about it for months. With the buffer, you pay the $200 from your safety account, then set a simple plan to refill $50 a month for 4 months until you are back at $500. Your daily life barely changes, but your stress level does. Or think about work. If you have been saying yes to every unpaid extra shift because you are terrified of upsetting your boss, that little buffer might be what allows you to say calmly, not this weekend, and use that time to rest or look for something better. If you use the buffer for bigger TVs and fancier dinners, it becomes another way to chase short-term comfort and long-term stress. If you use it to avoid new debt and buy back a bit of time and energy, it becomes a tool for changing your direction. So how do you make this stick, month after month, without relying on endless willpower? Here is the quiet piece most people skip: a 1-minute ritual on payday. Once a month, when your paycheck lands, open your banking app and look at your buffer account. Take a breath and say, even silently, my job this month is to keep you at or above this number. If you are at 120, your job is to move it higher. If you are at 480 and your line is 500, your job is to nudge it over. If you are at 550, your job is to protect it from pointless spending. That tiny check-in links your identity to the buffer. You stop being the person who always ends at 0 and start being the person who always has something set aside. You might still have debt. You might still feel underpaid. But with a small buffer and 3 simple rules, you can make sure that every month does not end at 0. And that is the beginning of a very different money story. Everything here is education, not personal financial advice. Your life, your family, your health will always matter more than any number on a screen. Take what fits your reality and leave the rest. If this gave you a bit more calm around your money, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you would like more content in this quiet, practical style. You have been watching Wealth Mentor Pro, and if you are ready to stay in this mindset a little longer, the next video on your screen is there to help you keep going.